Hello everyone, this is YBW Let's Play. New video up today, not something that's usually the type of video that you see on this channel. Of course, normally I do gaming walkthroughs. However, recently I've moved out, long story short, and I have no means of recording gameplay. So this is just a different type of video to what we're used to on the channel. It's going to be my Premier League predictions for 2017-18. Let's think about that for a second for some reason. But yes, as of today, it is Tuesday the 17th, is it? I'm not even sure. Basically, it's the Tuesday after the start of the season. So this is a bit late. There has been a first round of fixtures. However, I will say this. I made the list on Thursday morning, I think, the day before the season started. In fact, no, it was Wednesday night. Apologies. So it was the day before that. 2 days before the season started, kicked off, of course, with Arsenal versus Leicester in an all-time classic. So the list stays the same. I will run through it. Basically, I didn't get a chance to do it at the time because I just happened to be busy on the weekend. I wanted to do it on the Thursday, it never happened. So I'm going to keep the list as it was, but maybe we'll briefly mention as well how I might have been wrong, or a bit abrupt in predicting certain teams to finish higher or lower than what I now think they will. But I'll say the list as it was true and accurate, because of course you can't change it after one round of fixtures. It's a bit of a cheat. So I'm going to be consulting my phone, of course. I've written all the teams down, and just let us know in the comments what you think, whether your side you think I've mentioned as maybe going to do better than I think they are, or worse, or any mistakes I may have made. I don't know all the signings from these teams, but I like to know. I like to think I know football pretty well, particularly the Premier League. I've been watching it for so many years, and we'll see how right I am come the end of the season. I think there's going to be a lot wrong. Last season, for instance, I predicted West Bromwich Albion to finish 19th. Yeah, they finished 10th, I think. So we'll see how we get on this season. So starting off with, of course, number 20, we'll work way up. It's again straight away a good example of a team that I may have hastily predicted really wrongly here. It's Huddersfield Town. So Huddersfield Town, newcomers, never been in the Premier League. It's 44 years, I think, since they've been the top flight full stop. And I thought that'd work against them. But opening day, they beat Crystal Palace 3-0. However, I can't adjust this, of course. Were I to adjust it, would I still think they'll stay up? I'd still say probably not. The season's a marathon, not a sprint. Despite the fact they look very good against Palace, was it Palace who looked bad? Was it Huddersfield who looked good? I don't know, to be honest. Certainly the signings they made do look decent. Steve Mounier, I think, the other day was fantastic. They signed Aaron Moy on a permanent deal, and Tom Ince didn't do anything directly from goals or assists the other day. I know about that. I had him in a fantasy team, but yeah, he's a good signing. I think he'll do bits against the sort of bottom 6, 7 who they will be competing against. I think there will be a bottom. Let's have a look. 6, yeah, I've got down here. But it's a hard ask to come into the Premier League, and they do come in as the lowest rated team. They won the playoffs last year against Reading, and I watched all 3 of their legs against Sheffield Wednesday, both legs, and against Reading. They weren't great. So this Huddersfield performance against Crystal Palace, granted, was very good, but it could still be an anomaly. I don't know. If they carry on in that vein of form, they got every chance to stay there because they look like they got a goal scorer in Steve Mounier. And that's what I thought they lacked, which is why I put them at 20th. Still, across the park, are they good enough defensively as well? I'm not too sure. They lost Danny Ward, of course. Say they kept Aaron Moy in a permanent deal, but they did lose Danny Ward, who came back to my team, Liverpool. It's a big loss for them, but then again, Lossell looked decent the other day against Crystal Palace. It remains to be seen how Huddersfield will do. Certainly, they've got a horrific end to the season. I'd say this: if Huddersfield are going to stay up, they have to do it for 4 or 5 games to spare. Just take a look at it, guys. We've got time. It's ridiculous. I can't remember all the teams, but I think it's 4 of the top 6 they have. Maybe even 5 of the top 7, sort of from last season, sort of last 5 games. So it doesn't look a great run in for Huddersfield. Hopefully for them, they do better earlier on the season. In at 19, place, I predicted another promoted team. It's a bit of a cop-out to do that, an easy thing to say, but I think they'll go this way. I've gone with Brighton and Hove Albion. The weekend I saw them against Manchester City. I was in work, but I managed to get a stream, and they looked competitive. I'd say is the best way to say it. Without being disrespectful, I don't think they had too much quality, but then again, I don't think they really did in the Championship last year either. I think they get things done in that league. However, against Premier League teams, you can't afford lapse of concentration. And the game against City was a perfect example of this, so it's why after that game, I think they got a bit more about them than perhaps I gave them credit for. I still think they will finish 19th, maybe even 20th. I don't know. No offense, Brighton, but they switched off quite simply against Man City and got carved open. And in the Premier League, that will happen. You are going to concede chances against anyone. Will Brighton create many and score many? I'm not too sure. I think the main striker right now, forgive me if I'm wrong, is it Glenn Murray? Maybe I'm not too sure who else they've got up top. But either way, they haven't really got enough going forward. I think Brighton. Good to see them in the Premier League. Them on Huddersfield. Brighton. It's also the first time they're in the Premier League, and I think 33 years since they've been in the top flight, possibly. I think it was the mid 80s. So yeah, they're a welcome addition to the Premier League. Are they going to make waves in it? I don't think so. They'll be competitive. I don't think they'll get tanked a bit like Sunderland did last year. But I think they'll go straight back down. Not necessarily with a whimper, but pretty comfortably. So in 18th, and I may look like an idiot sticking with this, but I've gone with Watford. I say this because, of course, the opening day of the Premier League, they just drew with my boys Liverpool 3-3, and again, a bit like Huddersfield, it's difficult to tell whether Watford were good or Liverpool were just that bad. Because I think we were woeful in the first half. We were truly shit. All our frailties came back. Attacking, we were good. Defensively, we were weak. But we'll more on that later. However, Watford did look decent going forward relative to the game. Stefano Okaka, they actually signed last year, I think maybe January, from, I think it was one of their sister clubs. I'm going to guess Udinese. It could be Granada. And he looked a different man. I mean, I don't really remember this guy last year. I usually keep an eye out for Watford. They're one of the old FIFA teams, so I've always sort of kept track on them, really. But across the park, it's been largely the same for Watford the last few years. They've stayed up comfortably-ish, I'd say. Basically what I mean by that is they had an amazing start to both seasons. I mean, the first season they come up, they were like 8th or something like that, after the 7th or 8th, and they were up there with West Ham until about November, December, which is mad. Last season they were like 10th or something by the time January rolled around. Getting decent wins. So they won at the Emirates last year, for instance. The year before, they beat us 3-0 at Vicarage Road, which still remains Klopp's biggest defeat. So they did rack up wins against not just the small boys, but the big boys. They beat United as well, obviously last season at Vicarage Road, which can be a fortress. However, they tend to tail off. They've done that the last couple of years, and I don't know what happens. Obviously, both times the managers left, and who knows really how Watford will do, because the board is like that. They will just flog people. The guy's got a history of this. I think the guy who runs them, he isn't quite as bad as Leeds former owner, but he's got a bad track record, so to say, for getting rid of managers, and it's a bit of a merry-go-round. I don't want this to happen, even if they do go down, as I will predict. I like Marco Silva. I think he did a great job, rather, at Hull. Did he have a great job? Probably not. It was a bit of a poison chalice, actually. But he did the best of what he could, what he was given, and he almost kept them up. And I think, had it been anyone else, no offense to Steve Bruce here, had he stayed in the job, or some of them will come along, they probably would have gone down for Winter last year. But in the end, I think they were the team that finished 18th, so they've got to count themselves. And that largely was due to Marco Silva. So now he's at Watford. He's made a few signings. Said Okaka, I think they were Shalabar. Was it on loan or maybe a permanent signing from Chelsea? Can't really recall too many others. They probably have strengthened across the park a bit more than 2 signings, I imagine. But certainly the other day they did look like they had a bit of attack and fight. I think that is the reason I'm putting them at 18th rather than the bottom 2. And we'll say right now, after the first round of fixtures, it's probably 50-50 for Watford. Because they do have firepower, and that's always the key. You need strikers who'll score goals if you're going to stay up. And they have Troy Deeney, who's a proven scorer in this league, and Okaka, who looked pretty decent the other day. So, despite that, due to the way they do tail off, and the fact that Watford may go a bit further in competition this year than perhaps prior, I think they will go down. So I'm going to stick with this Watford 18. So up to number 17th team, just about staying up, just like last year. I'm going to go with Burnley. And this is, like Huddersfield, one of them teams that completely exceeded my expectations in the opening day of the season. They only won 3-2 at Chelsea. However, yet again, sorry to say this, it might be relative because Chelsea were truly dreadful the other day. They finished 9 men, of course. And they had 10 men for about a good 80 of them minutes. Not to say Burnley didn't play well, of course. This is a team, don't forget, that had one away win last year. Turf Moor was a fortress. It always is, to be fair. It's a tough ground to go to. It always is a ground I'm not really happy to see Liverpool go to. However, on the road, you can sort of bank on Burnley just being a sort of easy 3 points, really. You take them off. Like I said, that one away win last year, I don't even know where it came out. It's probably Sunderland or something like that. But this year they've already got one away at the home of the champions, and it surprised me. Despite how bad Chelsea played, and I think a look at Burnley, and I think they've got weaker than last season. And last season I think they finished 16th, perhaps. They're just about stayed up with 2-3 games to go. But 2 of their stalwarts last year were Jordan Pickford and Michael Keane. Michael Keane and Jordan Pickford, of course. Jordan Pickford, what am I on about? He was at Sunderland. Michael Keane, definitely, though. He went to Everton. Who was the other one who went? Andre Gray, that was it. He went to Watford. That is one of the signings Watford made then. So, like I said, Watford have firepower. Will they beat out Burnley? Who knows? But Burnley did weaken drastically with that. They've still got Sam Vokes. Sam Vokes is a good goal scorer. He showed that the other day. I think he got 1, maybe 2 against Chelsea. And they've got good fighters across the pitch. I'll say this about Burnley. I like the way they go about things. Sean Dyche, great boss. The year before last, when they went down, the year before that one, obviously, they went down, then they went up, then they stayed up. I think they'll stay up again. The year they did go down last, Sean Dyche took them down without a fuss. I thought he handled himself in a very dignified manner every time they went away and got something that was a bit of a dodgy decision, you know what I mean? Like last season was the same. Against Arsenal, both games, for instance, I think they were unlucky. He took it on the chin and they bounced back and did well in the next few games or something like that. So Burnley do have a great amount of fight about them, a great crowd behind them, a great fortress at home, and I think it'll just about be enough to get them home, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's very, very close, even like last day of the season, between not just them and Watford, but perhaps down to Brighton or Huddersfield, or the team slightly above. My prediction for Burnley, which moving on to is number 16, Swansea City. So Swansea is one of them I'm looking at right now, and I'm thinking the only reason I predict them to finish 16th because I was looking at the squads as they stand, and the window's not over yet. You know what I mean? The fact remains that Everton may come in for Gylfi Sigurdsson, which I think would be a fantastic signing for Everton and a horrific signing for Swansea. I think that could be the game changer. If Gylfi Sigurdsson goes and they don't replace him sufficiently, I don't really see how they can. Then they're done for, I think. I think Swansea will go down, but as it remains, he is still there, so I've decided to keep them there. And, it wasn't just him that kept them up last year. I mean, they struggled, of course, loads last year. I think they started the season with, was it Laudrup maybe? I'm not too sure. Then I think Bradley came in and didn't really do much. They were certainly a lot worse under Michael Bradley than they were under his predecessor. It was the Italian guy, I forget his name. Was it Francesco Guilin, perhaps? Yeah, they came and went really, and they brought Paul Clement in, and this was a bit of a game changer for me because I didn't think, even with Sigurdsson, for a second or two, I was thinking, will they still go down? Because Llorente's injured. I don't really know how long he's out for, but he was key as well. He was their other really big man. And, if Gylfi Sigurdsson's creating chances, if he is drafted back into the team, then who's putting them away? I don't really see anyone. They did, however, sign Tammy Abraham on loan. And like I said, I think Paul Clement has got something about him. I mean, he's going places this spot, so he did a great job last year. And with Gylfi Sigurdsson in there, feeding Tammy Abraham, probably could cover Fernando Llorente. The only downside is, like I said, I think Sigurdsson's going. I mean, it's as simple as that. Later on in the window. So if I were to do this on the 31st of August, or well, the 1st of September, regardless of how the season starts, I think it still puts Swansea down there. However, he is still there. So as of the season starts, I had to make a choice, and I decided that Swansea would still finish above the other boys. Assuming Sigurdsson stays. But like I said, if I was a Swansea fan, I wouldn't be holding my breath on that. Looking up the table, moving on to number 15, which is Newcastle United. So the third promoted team to come up. Why do I think they'll be the best of them? I mean, they did win the championship last year, but blimey, they huffed and puffed for it. I mean, they didn't really ever pull away. I mean, I think it was the other way around, actually. They were chasing most of the season. First Huddersfield, then it looked like Reading and Fulham were up there for quite a while and threatening to pull away themselves. Then ultimately Brighton charged ahead, but Newcastle clawed them back. Brighton basically choked the league last year. I've probably offended Brighton fans all around with this video, sorry, but probably doing the same to Newcastle as well. But I don't think it was a high quality championship season last year. Newcastle, Huddersfield and Brighton all needed big improvements. Have Newcastle done that? Not massively. I mean, the only signing of theirs this summer I can think of, there's two actually. I've only got Lejeune in, the centre back who Harry Kane just ploughed over through yesterday. So God knows what's happening to him. He could be out for a while. I don't know, to be honest. But they also signed Mikel Merino, I think. Could be drastically mistaken there. I literally looked at the team sheet the other day. I'd heard a link for that and I saw a Merino and I was like, is that Mikel Merino? It could be someone else. Fucking Don Marino for all I don't know. But if it is Mikel Merino, he's a good signing. He's Spanish, so it sort of fits the Rafa bill really. And of course, Rafa is the key part for me. Basically what I'm saying is I don't think Newcastle's squad or team should be enough to keep them in the Premier League. But I think Rafa being there will. It's not biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, and obviously I love Rafa. He's an absolute god to me. Because he's slowly put his imprint on Newcastle, but very slowly, I'd say this. However, when he did come in the first season, you did start to see something about him in the Premier League, that he knows how the Premier League works. He did get them 1 or 2 points, particularly a point at Anfield as well. Is a good example of it, where you thought, wow, the Newcastle showed a bit of fight. If Rafa was there from the start of the season, they probably wouldn't have gone down. And unfortunately for them, they just waited too long to get that clown Stephen Claren out the door and brought Rafa in when the writing was already on the wall, really. But I saw enough in that. Like I said, I don't think they did as much in the Championship last year as I expected them to. Certainly they were much worse Championship campaign. But much less convincing, I'd say that. You can't say it's much worse if you want it, but they were less convincing than Chris Hughton's Championship campaign, the last time they got relegated. The only other time they've gone down from the Premier League. So, well, they didn't set the Championship alight. I think Rafa has enough know-how to just scrape some points here and there against your mid-table teams and then beat the odd lower league team. Don't get me wrong, I think some teams near the bottom will beat Newcastle. I think this week coming. Like I said, this, as I record, is obviously in between game week 1 and 2 in the Premier League. I think Huddersfield will beat them on Sunday. However, then I wouldn't be that surprised if further down the line Newcastle beat an Everton or a Chelsea or an Arsenal or even a Liverpool. And that's what may keep them up, particularly that home form. Like Burnley, I think St James's Park can be a fortress at times. It's a great stadium, great atmosphere, great support, and maybe the difference for Newcastle United. So moving on to 14th. So I just wait for my phone to catch up. So we have Stoke City. So Stoke is an interesting one, really. I mean, they had this tradition, I say tradition, they had this historical sort of stereotype of being a difficult team to play against because they go long ball, because they are, rough and physical and aerial and just beasts, basically. Physically, their players are massive. They come in, they're all rocks, and they chuck themselves about. And of course, the Britannia Stadium, the famous wet. Could you do it on a wet Wednesday or Tuesday night at Stoke? Britannia Stadium, or the Bet365 Stadium, as I refuse to call it now. Toys of Britannia for me. It's a rough ground to go to in terms of one of the stands is open. It said windy as well, and the way they played football just made teams uncomfortable. But this is what I'm saying. The weird thing about Stoke, I think they've sort of regressed from that. What's his name? Tony Pulis left and Mark Hughes came in. I think Mark Hughes was threatening to change their style. I think they played a lot better stuff on the ground a couple of seasons ago than people gave them credit for. For a couple of seasons, I think it's about his fourth season now, Mark Hughes there, perhaps. And I think the first two seasons Stoke played very well. I think they finished 8th in both. Maybe 9th the first season, actually. But whatever, I'm nitpicking. They were up there, top half. And had players that could do something, like Marko Arnautovic, Xherdan Shaqiri. They're not long ball merchants. These guys will cross it in and stuff, but they're not a one-dimensional Stoke type of player that you automatically think of. You think Crouchy, Cameron Jones in years gone past. They had Sidibe, for instance. They just hoof it up to them and they stick it in. Who's the other guy, the Jamaican guy at the hearing? He was another type who was a classic Stoke player, which I think. But they had some ball players in there, man. And the problem I'm seeing now for Stoke is that they're getting pilfered a bit. And Arnautovic is gone. And Zonzi they had for a while, a few years ago, he was a bit of a ball player. He was a bit of a general, but he can play a ball, and he went. And now they're left with Joe Allen and Charlie Adam and the decent players, man, but they were pretty average for us, Liverpool. And they were in our team when we were finishing like 8th and stuff. Can Stoke finish 8th? And no, because I don't think they've got Luis Suarez and Steven Gerrard and Jamie Carragher around them like they guys did. That's the only problem for Stoke right now with Arnautovic going. I think that's such a huge loss. Bojan went as well. I mean, that was a big, big loss. Bojan was a quality player. Like I said, one of these sort of new breeds, the new way of Stoke play that I sort of saw emerging. I'd say the main reason I'm making this point is that a couple of years ago I was looking at Stoke and thinking, they're the team, aside from your top 7 of last season, and how it has been for about the last 3 or 4 years, that could break into it. Everton finished 7th last year. 2 years ago, if you'd have said to me, in a couple of years, who will finish above the other, Everton or Stoke, I'd have probably gone with Stoke. And in the end, they regressed big time last year, whereas Everton got better from the year before. So Stoke are always comfortable, don't get me wrong, I don't think they'll be in any danger. In fact, I think I did say there'd be a bottom 6. I think there'll be a quite marked gap actually between Stoke and Newcastle, maybe like 7-8 points even. So there'll be no real danger of going down, but I don't think they're going to make waves in this season, you know what I mean? They're a team you look at in the past and think, I don't fancy them. Fucking Stoke away, fuck this. Or Stoke coming at home on Boxing Day. You want to go with Boxing Day for a nice win, you've got fucking Stoke. But nowadays, I look at them and I think, Stoke have to be at the best to even give us a chance. Even then, we have to be not on our game. You know what I mean? And therein lies the problem for me, for Stoke City. So, 14th for Stoke is my prediction. Moving up to 13th, and a bit of a controversial one, perhaps. I'm going to go with Bournemouth. Bournemouth, of course, finished ninth last year, which is an amazing season. They were one of the biggest overachievers last year, for sure. Arguably the biggest, actually. I can't really think of anyone else who did exceed to the extent that Bournemouth did. To finish top half is massive. And, even 10th or ninth. Only finishing narrowly behind rival Southampton, the South Coast rivals. And for them, it couldn't have got much better a season. The only way it could have got better is to finish above Southampton. So I don't think anyone else was going to finish top 7 that year, aside from the teams that did. So obviously, with Bournemouth finishing ninth, you'd think 13th is a bit harsh. But one thing I would say is they didn't actually accrue that many points. There wasn't a huge point difference right last season between 8th place Southampton down to about probably 16th place Burnley, I think. Probably only about 7-8 points, something like that. And that is the difference. I think this year Bournemouth will probably accrue about the same amount of points, maybe even more, and may still finish 13th. Even now I'm thinking to myself, is that possible? But maybe the other teams aren't going to be quite as inconsistent. They might, just generally raise the game, the other teams above them. Because one thing's for sure, you're looking at that and thinking, why are you picking Bournemouth to finish below? Do you think they've weakened? And no, I think they have strengthened the team. One thing I will say is that I think they'll go on a few cup runs this year. I don't think they did anything in the cups last year. I don't know if they got in the League Cup, but certainly the FA Cup, they went out in the third round. They were all beaten 3-0, which is embarrassing, really. I don't remember what kind of team Bournemouth put out, but they should have been going for it. They were a team that could have won that cup, for sure. If they turned up every round and played to the best of their ability, they wouldn't have been easy to beat. No one would have wanted to play them. Because I think Bournemouth play a great style of football as well. Like it was mentioned earlier, like Burnley and Watford, I really, really rate this boss. I think Eddie Howe is going places. He's potential future England boss. I don't want to get carried away when I say that. A lot of people say this, and it's like maybe he should go somewhere else first and just accrue a few more years under his belt. It could be like a Moyes, he succeeded at one club really. I think he went to Burnley, didn't really succeed there. He got sacked, was it? And maybe left, but I don't know. Either way, it went to shit. So Bournemouth is his place. He's done well there in 2 spells, and for now, just continue apprenticeship at Bournemouth, Eddie, and then look at England. But for sure, I mean, the job he's done speaks for itself. Obviously, taking Bournemouth into the Premier League and getting them not just survival, but then a huge increase on last year. I was thinking, can it get better? And that is a large part of why I've put them down below. There's bound to be a bit of a hangover at some point with Bournemouth. Like I said, do better in cup competitions and then just maybe take the foot off the gas on the Premier League a bit, or teams start working hard to play against them particularly. Could be an issue. But long term for Bournemouth, it looks very good. They've signed Jermaine Defoe, great signing. He knows how to score in the Premier League. They got him on a free as well, which is insane. He obviously left, his contract was up at Sunderland, and even in a Sunderland team that struggled to create chances and ultimately went down, he still scored about 15 goals last year, I think. So in the Bournemouth team, play football, get it about the pitch, keep it on the ground as well a lot. He will do bits. We also signed Nathan Ake on a permanent deal from Chelsea. I think they're another great signing. High quality player, can be left back, centre back, probably even right back now for Bournemouth. He fits in their system perfectly. I think he's a ball playing full back / centre back, and he's got a bit of physicality about him, a bit of height. He's one for the future for sure. Looking across Bournemouth's setup, it is the case generally with the whole team. They have youth, they have pace, they have ability. So the more I'm saying this, the more you probably are thinking, why are you picking him at 13th? I just fancied him to go on a bad run at one point and struggle to get out of it, to be honest. I do think other teams around them will just have a bit more know-how about them this season. Because Bournemouth's exploits elsewhere, which I do expect. I expect a good cup run from Bournemouth. Hopefully they win one. If Liverpool don't win one, I wouldn't mind Bournemouth winning one. They're one of them teams. Despite taking 4 points off us last year, I don't mind them at all. So, yes, Bournemouth are my 13th place team. On to 12th place, and I think it's a good example actually of chalk and cheese really at Bournemouth. And the type of team that I expect to be better this year, which is why I've predicted them to finish above Bournemouth, although I do think they'll be very close. I've gone for West Bromwich Albion. So West Brom, another one that I think I've predicted to do worse than last year. Can't really recall. I imagine they finished 10th. Last year from about 8th to 16th, it was sort of, like I said, they were all very close. They were chopping and changing the order so many times. It was to and fro, and then I can't even fully remember exactly where West Brom finished, but I think it was 10th to 12th, around there. So I don't think they'll do any better. But again, probably Crew about the same amount of points, maybe a couple less. Why do I think so? Because Tony Pulis, basically, West Brom can play. I say they can play. They have players who are good enough for the Premier League. I'd say that. They're not always the best team to watch. Then again, Tony Pulis teams aren't, but he does the job. He gets it done. He knows how to play in the league, in particular. It's the famous "he's never been relegated" thing, and he's done this at every club he's been to. The only clubs I remember him being at since I've been following football are whoever he was at before Stoke. I don't know, but Stoke, and then Crystal Palace, and then West Brom. And every time, every one of their teams, when you go into it, like as mentioned about Stoke earlier, largely the Pulis hero from Brighton, they just give you a game, and the physical, the deadly from set pieces, they know how to defend set pieces. It's something that's very important in the Premier League, obviously, because of how end-to-end it is. You tend to have a lot more corners. It's just the way it is. And the physicality of West Brom will bully a lot of teams off. The teams like Bournemouth, it's a good example again. I say this actually because this weekend, I didn't intend this by the way, but this weekend Bournemouth have just been beaten at the Hawthorns. Bournemouth bossed the ball and didn't create anything really. Whereas the Bromwich had, I think, literally about 23% possession and had about 6 shots on target to Bournemouth. I think it was. And that just shows West Brom have this know-how. They don't always play well on the eye. They're one of them teams, I think you've seen a Super Sunday, West Brom versus, I don't know, Newcastle or something. You're like, God, I don't really fancy that because it's not going to be a pretty game. But you'd back West Brom to get the points, and that's why I have them at 12th place. As for summer signings, I think they signed they sold Darren Fletcher to Stoke, beg your pardon. Who did they sign? I don't think I can think of anyone, so apologies West Brom fans. I've just not kept an eye on it as keenly as I should have, or it's just gone beyond me. But they did sign Hegazi actually. There's one. He scored at the weekend. He's a good sign. He's a classic Pulis sign. Really strong centre back. He knows how to get about, and he scored. And that's classic West Brom. A tip, guys, if ever you do a fantasy team, get a West Brom defender in there. I haven't done it this year. I can afford them, but they score their centre backs and they keep clean sheets for Fulham and Bromwich. So they are quite ugly sometimes, but they're very effective. And I don't mind that. It sounds like I'm slagging it off. I'm just pointing out the limitations really as to why I think they'll finish 12th and not higher. But it's also their pro that they can do this. And at the end of the day, West Brom will be in any danger from relegation this season, and they'll consider that a good job well done. And who knows, they may have a good cup run as well. So moving up to 11th place, need to get a move on with this in 34 minutes in, guys. So I'll summarise these a bit quicker actually, because I'll take quite a long time in the top 7. So number 11 is Leicester City. Why do I think they'll finish 11th? I think it's pretty much the same as last year, just because I think they're weaker generally than even last year. Because, they signed Iheanacho, which is a good signing. They also signed Iborra from Seville, which I think again is a good signing. But I think they're set to lose Mahrez. I think he will go. He's under the transfer request, and there's a bit of and gnawing about whether Rome will come in or not. Surely they will. I can't see why they wouldn't. Because What it annoys me a bit, I work in a bookmakers, and you have a lot of old boys come in, and they all have an opinion, and come in with like some shit, basically, some responses. He hears some good stuff, he hears some shit. And one of them recently I heard was, "Oh, that Mahrez, he's a one-season wonder." And it's like, well, yeah, he did amazing for that season, though. You know what I mean? You could look at it another way. You could look at Eden Hazard, who had that amazing season at Chelsea, PFA Player of the Year. Then the year after, the year Mourinho got sacked, he was dog shit. Then the year after that, he was good again. Could Mahrez do the same? I think he could if Leicester keep him. And that's why I think he could be an asset to Roma, and why I think someone surely will come in for him. Liverpool don't really need him, but say before we'd have got Salah, I'd probably gone for him. In the end, I'm happy we'd have get Salah. I'd rather have him over Mahrez because he has pace that he doesn't. But you know what I mean? I think he's good enough to play for a Champions League team, Riyad Mahrez. And when he does go, I think it's a big, big miss for Leicester. They have Damari Gray on the wing, who's also a very good player, but he's not really there yet. I think he will be a solid player. But is he Mahrez class? Is he going to set up Vardy as much as he could? Probably not. So I just feel Riyad Mahrez is the big enough miss that it covers Iheanacho and Abora coming in. Although, like I said, I think that was good business. Craig Shakespeare did a good job last year, granted. Don't know the ins and outs. Don't know whether the players did give up on Ranieri or not, or whether it just got stale, or teams worked out how to play against them. You sit back against Leicester and let them come to you, then counter them rather than the way round, or you just keep it tighter at the back. The year before that, the year they won the league, everyone played a high line, and Jamie Vardy exploited that, and Riyad Mahrez exploited that. And of course, they lost Kante, so last year they were weakened a lot. And I still think there is a degree of teams knowing how to play against Leicester. It didn't really reflect this weekend. Arsenal played Leicester in the Premier League, and it was classic 4-3. And Leicester should really have got some. Arsenal probably did deserve it in the end, but you know what I mean? Leicester had it until 90 odd minutes, like that. But Arsenal exploited Leicester's weaknesses, and as defence, I think without Kante, they're seriously exposed last year. They did have Champions League commitments and still finished something like 11th. But like I said, I think the rest of the league, from about 8th to 16th, will be better this season than they were. 8th to 15th, I should say. And Leicester will therefore perhaps do slightly better in terms of performance in the league, certainly. But still finish around then. So on to 10th place, I've gone with Southampton. Bit of a surprise one again. I think Southampton have finished as low as 10th in about 3 or 4 years now. They had this amazing season, of course, where they finished 6th. He was 6th behind Man United and head up West Ham and Liverpool under Koeman. Then he left and he finished 8th last year and got to the League Cup final. I'll talk about this more when I get to Man United in a bit. Excuse me, but they should have won that League Cup final for me. They had, Gabby Dean scored a hat-trick. One of them was disallowed for offside, barely. I think they played excellently in that game, showed what they can do. But the problem with Southampton last year, as I said, despite finishing 8th, is that, again, I'll bore myself mentioning, sorry guys, but yeah, they didn't actually get anywhere near 7th place side Everton last year. And are they better this year? No, I don't think they are. Again, I don't recall too many signings they made. I think they made one signing, actually. It was Jan Bednarek, his name. I recall that. He's a centre-back they got from some random team. Is it Slovan Liberec or something like that? I think it's like Slovakian or Slovenian team. And they haven't improved the 11. Quite simple as that, because Virgil van Dijk was not on the team on the weekend. Will he get back in the team? Who knows? Because, of course, he's been heavily linked with Liverpool. I mean, please, Southampton, just fucking sell us Virgil van Dijk. We need him so bad. And I don't think it'll make too much of a difference to Southampton. They won't go down, but they're not going to make Europe either way. I'm going to say that. They almost won the cup with Van Dijk. But, yeah, if he's put a transfer request in and not playing him, don't get wrong, I quite like that when a manager says, "Well, fuck you, then I won't play you." Well, you're like, there, I'll let you rot in the reserves, or I'll leave you out until the window's done, and when you haven't gone, I'll draft you back in. From the Southampton perspective, their fans will be probably happier not to sell him to Liverpool. I think the most sales they've made in recent years have been to Liverpool, and I think that work against us. Obviously, we didn't really do much ethically right in the way we approach Van Dijk, etc. But I will digress because I'm talking more about Liverpool and Southampton now. But yeah, I mean, I suppose because that is a large part of Southampton's transfer window, and that's what I'm looking at as to whether there are improvements. The Saints have Premier League know-how more than anyone else. Again, they'll be nowhere near going down, but I don't think they'll be anywhere near the top 7, maybe even top 8. And that's why I think they'll finish 10th. So who knows what will happen with Van Dijk, guys, but if he doesn't go, I heard something the other day where he said, alright, we'll let you sort of rot away then, see how you like it, because there's a World Cup year this year. Well, joke's on you, Southampton, because Holland might not even qualify, so maybe Van Dijk will push a deal through, but I'm jesting, obviously. I don't mind Southampton at all. I think a lot of their fans have an issue with Liverpool recently, but maybe I would if I was Southampton fan as well, to be fair. But anyway, I predict them a solid top half a table finish. So into number 9, and this is the one amongst all others actually that probably looks a bigger reach now than it did on Wednesday night, and that's Crystal Palace. I say that because they got absolutely smashed by Huddersfield the other day. I say smashed. The scoreline, even Wagner, the Huddersfield boss, admitted this. The scoreline completely flattered Huddersfield. I think they were better than Palace and did deserve it. But maybe a 1-0 or a 2-0 would have been more reflective of the game. 3-0 just wasn't fair on Palace, I think. However, it showed their old frailties, and I'm starting to regret this number 9 pick. Well, let's say at the start of the video, I'm going to stick with the picks. Number 9 for Palace, I mean, why did I think that? Because I think their squad, actually, and I've thought this for a few years, I look at it and I think, their squad, I think, is the best outside the top 7, and that might be a controversial statement. In fact, I don't think it is anymore. I think the 8th place team's squad is better, and you probably already know the 8th place team, so it's not a spoiler, I think. But that's just because of this window. I think Crystal Palace, I look at them and I think you've got Benteke, you've got Zaha, you've got Kabay, who was so good at Newcastle the year they finished really high, like 5th or something. You had Saka last year. I mean, they might get Saka this year. Actually, in a way, I hope you do and I hope you don't, because for Liverpool, Saka probably won't get back into our team because Klopp's so stubborn to let him back in. And as well, he doesn't really have a great attitude, I've heard. It's through the grapevine. But he's a great centre-back. He would be better than he is better than any Liverpool centre-back we have right now, which is why I'd have him, and that strengthened Palace big time. So Palace do manage to get hold of Saka and keep, bear in mind the other players, you could buy if he decides to turn up every week, because sometimes he just doesn't. Benteke sort of guarantees goals. He's not a great finisher necessarily, always, but he's strong, he's fast, and he suits Palace's play perfectly. Willie Zaha will set him up. They're the boys that I think spurred me on to picking 9th place for Palace. Perhaps I overrate the other players then, because they had a terrible season last year, but like I said, I did think they were weakened by Pardew being, like I said, I didn't even get onto this topic, did I? Well, yeah, Alan Pardew, basically Newcastle fans were right all along. True Geordie is a guy I follow on YouTube. He's a great YouTuber. And he said all last season, got a lot of shit from Palace fans, that Alan Pardew will lead them to relegation, and he probably would have had they not sacked him. Because the problem is, Pardew comes in, and there's a honeymoon period, the teams do well, and Palace, I think the year before, did very well. They finished like 10th or 9th, something like that. They're up there, top half of the bottom half, basically. Towards the top half of the bottom half. Then, the longer he stays there, the more defensive frailties he have, and that's what happened to them last year. They were sort of a bit, they were woeful, to be honest, without pulling punches the first half of the season. Then Big Sam come in, and Big Sam, I don't really like him or his style, did what he does best, to his credit. He stabilised the ship, got them defensively solid, and they had a bit of threats going forward, and made his late edge up to the table and survived. So why did I predict them ninth? I thought that would continue. I thought Frank de Boer would keep the ball rolling where Sam did, and now the defence has sort of been sorted, even though they have lost Sacco for now. I thought Palace, with that defensive stability and a full season of the main three guys I mentioned earlier, plus the likes of Andros Townsend, I could forget him as well. He's a good player for this mid-table level. I thought they could do it, but Frank de Boer did very well at Ajax. He had a woeful time at Inter Milan, which Frank de Boer is going to say enough. How will Palace respond under him? They're an unknown, and perhaps I should have gone with a team that is more of a known quantity in the Premier League, like Leicester, above them. But it's early days, yeah. It was one game. Crystal Palace certainly will take points off people, no doubt about that. We tend to do against Liverpool enough, for God's sake. But I can't see him finishing above ninth, 100%. And as it is, as far as my predictions go, I fear it can only get worse for Crystal Palace. But I will, and I did go with them at ninth. So on to 8th place. I said, you probably guessed it. That's because I think the top 7 are a step above these, but nonetheless they had a brilliant window. It's West Ham United. And West Ham were one of the most underwhelming teams last year. The year before they were brilliant. They finished, what was it, 7th, I think, with Dimitri Payet. And basically, mentioned Payet. It went all wrong for West Ham last year. Payet fucked off. They all call him a snake now after cheating like a god. Why he went, I don't know. He went to Marseille, who are bang average these days. They're a big club, but they're a terrible team. West Ham are better than Marseille right now, 11v11. So had he stayed as well, it looked even better this year. But it wasn't just Payet going last year. They didn't adjust to the stadium. The stadium they were given, they now look like they don't want. To be honest, I've heard a lot of their fans complain that it's quite far away. It removes the atmosphere. Because that was the thing about Upton Park. It was a great atmosphere. It was proper old-fashioned English football ground, and you never liked going there, whoever you are. I don't care. Man United over the years got a lot of points there. Arsenal have, Liverpool have. West Ham were just an ugly team to go away from home at, and last year it was like home away from home. They may as well have been playing every game away from home, West Ham, and it showed. They just didn't really settle. Some of the players they brought in, I thought Ogbonna, who they brought in, was going to be very good, and I think he was average last year, to be honest. This year he looks better. I say he looks better. They've just been beaten by Man United 4-0, so maybe not. But I don't know. I think I did see them in one pre-season game, actually, West Ham, just randomly. I got a stream or something. He looked okay then. But it's difficult to tell from that first game, by the way, because Man United were very good. We'll come on to that later. But their signings, West Ham, speaking of Man United, one of their former boys, Javi Hernandez, what a signing that was. I would love Javi Hernandez at Liverpool. I'd say this. I always said this for United. Even, I don't give a fuck he played for United. A lot of people, a lot of Liverpool fans were like, oh, he plays for United, why do you want him? He scores goals, man. He's Mexican. He doesn't really, he's probably a United fan now, but maybe you wouldn't give a shit about going to Leverkusen and then on to Liverpool. Michael Owen didn't give a fuck, and he was from the Northwest, for God's sake. Javi Hernandez, given service, will score 15 goals a season. I feel pretty confident about saying that. Maybe even 20. He knows how to score in the Premier League. He never got that many minutes at United. It's important to remember. People look at him and think, I don't think he ever scored more than 12 goals for Man United in a season. Something like that. But he, like I say, he didn't play many minutes. And at West Ham, he will be playing every minute of every game. It didn't pan out that way, actually. On Sunday, he got sent off. He got subbed off after about an hour. But I think West Ham and Villa sort of effectively gave up the game plan that they had at that point and just decided to go for something else. He wasn't too great against Man United the other day, but then again West Ham weren't. So Javi Hernandez, on his given day, if they feed him and West Ham play well, he will play well. Other signings they made, Arnautovic, mentioned briefly earlier from Stoke, I think it's a great signing, and he's the perfect guy to feed balls in for Javi Hernandez because he's just a little poacher, isn't he? And he's good in the air as well. He's only small, but yeah, he's really quality at getting his head to the ball. And Arnautovic delivers great crosses in. Add to that, you've got Andre Ayew and the other wing. Great player himself. He's a great player. I mean, he's not top quality, but he's certainly good enough to get West Ham to 8th place and contribute big time to their season. Who knows? They may even have a good cup run as well. West Ham, you know, other players they're looking at as well. William Carvalho, I heard them linked with today. Apparently, had a £30 million bid accepted. I don't know. That's just gossip. You'll know more if you're watching this vid in the future. But if he comes in, I think it'll be a solid signing. He's a player who's been linked with all due respect to West Ham, bigger clubs over the years, the likes of Liverpool, likes of Arsenal, likes of even Bayern. I remember him getting linked with at one point before they went with Renato Sanchez. So, you know, he's a full Portugal international. He would tighten up that midfield. Marky Noble's getting on a bit now. Can still do a job, but he's well in his 30s now, I think. Kiyate is a good player, but Carvalho is certainly a step up. And yeah, the midfield maybe was the issue last year, I suppose. You look at the centre back partnership, and it is still a bit porous, Collins and Ogbonna. But they did sign Fonte, of course, and I think if you put Font and Ogbonna in with Carvalho slightly ahead of them, Adrian usually pretty solid in net. I think it's a pretty good team. I also really like, what is his name? Aaron Cresswell, a left back. He used to play for Tranmere Rovers, team local to me. He's a very, very good fullback. Again, no respect to West Ham. It wouldn't surprise me if 2-3 years' time he's at a bigger club, and maybe even sooner, because he could be another one who has a very good season this year, along with the rest of West Ham. I'm going to go with a solid 8th place finish for West Ham. And again, said this about a few clubs, but they're a dark horse for a cup, perhaps the League Cup. So on to 7th place. There was a tiny bit of debate about this. Normally you'd think it's pretty solid, but should Everton be there, or could they go better this year? I'm still going to say no. I think Everton will finish 7th, but I think like last year, there will be a bit of a gap between 7th and 8th. Not as big a gap as last year, and that's just going to be ridiculous. It was something like 13, 14 points. Everton finished with Southampton last year, which was, I suppose it showed Koeman was justified in going to Everton in the end. I'll say this, I don't think Koeman's fully settled his style on Everton just yet. I think it's a work in progress, and you can definitely see it. But, you know, obviously I know more about Everton than most of the fans in the country. I'll have seen more of them because I support Liverpool. I have a vested interest in Everton more than most, of course, being rivals. And, you know, my stepdad's a blue. It's like the case on Merseyside. A lot of families are split. Some was a red, some was a blue. And over the years, we've had times where we've traded places and back and forth. And a lot of Everton fans now are saying, oh, I think we've got signed. We could pretty sure love Liverpool. I don't think they're there yet. Like I said, I think they are a team for the future. I think it's exciting times for Everton fans. Probably the most, I wouldn't say ominous just yet, because I think Liverpool are still better than them. But probably the most exciting point of Everton's last 25 years now, because they've got the new stadium agreed in Kirby. They've got the money man in now. What's his name? Moshiri, I think his name's now. He's got cash, this guy. And yeah, for the first time, I mean, you say you don't have to be a selling club. And with all due respect to Everton, it's hard to argue against that, even if you're a blue. Over the years, they sold Rooney to Man United when he got big. They sold Rodwell to City when he was looking like he was going to be really big. They sold John Stones to City when he was looking like he was going to be really big. Basically, feed a club for the Manc teams. They had a couple of players in return, of course. They got Wayne Rooney off Man United this summer, but they did the same. They sold Lukaku to Man United. Now you may be thinking, I've just said they're not selling club. What's going on? I think it was always inevitable that Lukaku was going to go. I don't know if he put a transfer request in, but £75 million. I mean, granted, with Neymar's fee the other day, is that a lot? Took it away Lukaku played the other day? Probably isn't. You'd probably look at that in 5-10 years' time. However long Lukaku will be at United, God, that was a steal. But for a club like Everton, now this summer, it's big. Because they can go out and make the signings that they have made without even, touching upon money that this guy could possibly give them. So I don't think Everton have finished in the window this summer. And already they've made good signings. They brought Keane in from Burnley, solid centre-back. Jordan Pickford in from Sunderland, great young keeper. Could be probably England's future number one if Butland continues to sort of get injuries every now and again. So, I know he was out for about a year at one point. They signed Davy Klaassen from Ajax. I think that's a very good signing as well. A solid player. Mixed well with Idrissa Gana Gueye and Schneiderlin as well. Them two behind him. Klaassen can do bits. The only slight issue I have is that, excuse me, when they signed Rooney, I thought Klaassen might get in his way. It's a topic I'm going to touch on a bit similar with United actually. I'll reference that when I get to it. But Rooney drops deep a lot, and Klaassen will end up maybe just bumping heads with him a bit on the pitch. And then what happens? Who have you got forward? A natural finisher who can run off. Sandro is the only one left with another signing this year. And again, don't get me wrong, I think 2 or 3 years time, maybe even halfway through the season or the end of the season, this will look like a very good signing. Largely because of the price. Don't get me wrong, I think he will score goals, but I don't think this guy will score 10. I think he'll do well to get to that. Maybe. They signed him from Malaga. He did well last year in La Liga. He scored 15 goals, granted. And he is pacey, but this league's not quite like that. And I think Everton right now are set up to get the very best of Sandro. I think that will come. I think Yannick Bolasie, when he comes back from injury in November, will help towards that. I think he's got pace. He can whip it in. As of now, though, they've got Calvert-Lewin on the wing. He looks pretty good, to be fair. And Lookman as well. Lookman's a player for the future. He's a very good player. Caught a bit of England's under-20 World Cup team. The semi-final and final. He was very good. But are they big enough with all these players to take the next step? I still don't think so. I think like I said, I think the gap between 7th and 8th will shrink. But I do also think the gap between 6th and 7th will shrink as well. I think not by a lot, only by a couple of points. I think last season it was about 7 or 8 points that we finished 6th. Man United were above Everton by about that much. I think it will be maybe 4 or 5 this year, but again, Everton will probably be out of contention with a couple of games to go for top 6. So moving on to 6th place team now. Oh no, I will just quickly mention as well. I mean, the main problem for Everton, I mean, you say Sandro, that's the big issue. Will they score the goals Lukaku lost? I think they're better across the lineup. I think overall Everton are actually a better 11 now than they were last season. Just because they got Keane, who's better than Jagielka will be on the bench now. You have Keane, Williams, and maybe you'll have Jagielka, and then I don't know, Funes Mori. I don't know how they're going to start there. Holgate maybe as well. But then you have Pickford, who's better than Robles and Stekelenburg. You have Klaassen, who's better than, I don't even know whose place he's taken there. Obviously Ross Barkley will go as well. I didn't touch upon that. I think that's pretty certain. And I look at this and I think, Ross, what the fuck are you doing, mate? You are an idiot, lad. He's a Scouse lad. He's bought Everton. He's leaving at the most exciting time for Everton's history. I mean, maybe he's looking at it and thinking like I am. Will they finish better than 7th? Will they get better than this? No. Maybe not for 2 or 3 seasons even, but down the line, perhaps, mate. You know what I mean? They do have the means. They're a big enough club to maybe gate crash it one day. With the money that's flying out of the Premier League now, Everton can spend £50 million on Gylfi Sigurdsson. And that is another point linked to Ross Barkley. I would be looking at Barkley now if it was Koeman. And, well, clearly is, which is what I said. I like what he's doing so. And saying, well, fuck you, mate. go. You want to leave your boy or team at the most exciting time of them, and go where? Where are you going to go? Where will Barkley fit in to the first 11 of a team that finished above Everton? I can't think of anyone. Maybe the start of the window I said Man United, but I think they looked so good the other day that you wouldn't get near that either. You know, everywhere they've got better cams. Right now, for now, we've got Coutinho. Arsenal have Ozil. He's a bit hit and miss, Ozil. He's probably better than Barkley. He's more consistent, I don't know, but yeah, he's probably better. Spurs have Ericsson and Ali. Manchester City have De Bruyne and Silva. Man United, like I said, I didn't think they had anyone really, but I don't think they set up that way. And actually, I think this season they'll probably put Pogba there. So yeah, to be fair, they are doing that. Pogba's better than Barkley. So Ross, Barkley will probably end up at maybe Tottenham. They haven't spent this summer. I'll touch upon that a bit more when I get to Spurs, but he would probably just be a squad player for Tottenham Hotspur. Maybe he'd probably get enough games, maybe 20, 25 games, but most big Premier League games and stuff, he'd probably only be given half an hour if he was for the first 11 hours. And therein lies the problem. I didn't mention Chelsea earlier as well, actually. I don't think they use a cam. I can't think of one right now, honestly. So is Fabregas is sort of centre mid. He's probably better than Barkley as well, but I couldn't see. Excuse me. I couldn't see Barkley at Chelsea either. So if he goes, I don't know where he'll go. Possibly abroad. And Everton's option to bring in would be Gylfi Sigurdsson, who I think right now is better. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson would be a solid signing for Everton, really would. And I think it would sort out the shape. I mentioned Klaassen earlier, maybe bumping heads with Rooney because he'd have to move towards Cam if Barkley's not there. Or, you know, the way the Everton would play actually would be up a flat 5 in midfield. Baines and Coleman when he comes back on the side, that's now to be Baines and Calvert-Lewin, or Lookman, or even Morales. Then you'd have a centre three of Schneiderlin, Gay, and Klaassen. But if Sigurdsson comes up, you can mix it up, and I'd push Rooney further up with Sandro to get the goals Lukaku made up. Will they do that? Actually, I said no earlier on, which is why I think Everton will be at a downfall this year. They'll probably make up the goals elsewhere. But in an individual game against the top 6, this is where Everton go wrong. Take Liverpool, for example, my team, their most famously hated rivals. I like this bit. When Everton played against the top 6, they don't get many points, and therein lies the difference. The bit I don't like is that I'd say when Everton play the bottom 12 and Liverpool play the bottom 12, they probably get the same amount of points. In fact, Everton probably get more from the bottom 12. I think they did actually last year, maybe even the year before that, than we did. But I think Liverpool finished top of the top 6 mini league last year, and well, top 7 mini league. And if you made it a top 7 mini league, Everton would be easily bottom. Easily. I'm not even sure they got a win actually. Is that a lie? No, I think they beat Arsenal once, and that was about it. Certainly Liverpool always beat Everton, so cheers Everton, thanks for that. It's coming though, they will beat us at one point, but yeah, we did the double over them again last year. However, despite me, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I don't particularly wish Everton great fortune, to be honest, because they are our rivals. But suddenly I don't really mind if they do well as well, they're just sort of there. For now, but they are getting better, and I see it unfolding before my eyes. I think Koeman has taken them in the right direction, and despite staying the same at 7th place, Everton will probably accrue more points than they did last year, despite losing Lukaku. So spent quite a bit of time on Everton. Sorry guys, I was always bound to though. I'm a Liverpool fan, so it happens. We talk about. I talk football for a lot of Everton fans, so that's the way it is. So on to the top 6. 6th and 5th, and indeed now I'm thinking 4th, are all going to be very close, I think. What I'm going to say before I start my top 6, because this is the game changer of predictions. A lot of people will have this in a different order, and really could argue the case for any order, generally, because they're all very good teams. within reason, you know what I mean? And I think the next two teams that I say, most people actually this year will have fifth and sixth. Sixth, I went with Arsenal, and I think they will miss out on fifth by just a point or goal difference, perhaps, even. And I think it will be close. They finished fifth last year, Arsenal, and so often finishing worse off this year, you may be thinking, what the fuck? They're in Europa League, not Champions League. A lot of people now will be thinking, again, what the fuck? But hear me out. At the end of the day, with all due respect to Arsenal, no offence to their fans, I'm trying to wind anyone up here. They haven't really done much in the Champions League over the years. Yes, granted, they finished runner-up one year. They had a couple of semi-finals as well, and a handful of quarter-final appearances, which again sounds good, but it's over 22 seasons. They should have done a lot better than that. And at the end of the day, in the last 6 seasons at Arsenal, I think it was last 6 seasons, maybe 7. Arsenal, excuse me, they went out of the Champions League in the last 16 each time, and thus they had nothing else other than the FA Cup. To be fair, they've been brilliant in the FA Cup the last few years. But you take that away, it's one game a month from March. From March, they had nothing else in the way of Premier League other than that odd game in the FA Cup. And the Europa League's easier, and I actually expect Arsenal to win it, so I think they will. Just give a spoiler, I shouldn't have, because I will do a separate video into them later. Who's I think will win the cups and the foreign leagues, the big foreign leagues that is, and as well as the Championship and down to League 2 and whatever. I digress. That's another video entirely, but yeah, I think they'll win the Europa League, and it's more games in the Europa League. Straight off, I think I worked out once. If you go in the qualifying stage, which Arsenal went, to be fair, so take 2 games off. The first qualifying stage, if you go in that, I think you have to play 17 games to win it, which is fucking ridiculous. UEFA need to sort this shit out. I don't agree at all with teams from third place Champions League dropping down into it. That's another video entirely, but I'll quickly move on for it. Because it cramps games up, and Arsenal, will they handle what Man United did last year? United, to their credit last year, played so many games and still did well. Can Arsenal play 3 games a week and do well if they have an FA Cup weekend alongside a Europa League on a Thursday, then a Premier League coming up midweek after that or something? No, I don't think they can. I think Arsenal are really a Jekyll and Hyde team, similar to Liverpool. Going forward, they're brilliant. Against anyone, they can carve teams open at will, almost. Will they keep Alexis Sanchez? Probably not. A large part of the prediction was spent debating that, but in the end, perhaps controversially, I thought, I don't think it'll matter, because the defence is still so sketchy. That offence I mentioned, I'll finish off from a point. You also have Lacazette, you also have Ozil, you also have Cazolla's got to come back surely sometime soon as well. You have Walcott, who doesn't even get games. Olivier Giroud, who I'll go on record as saying I think is the most underrated player, well, one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. Gets the job done, gives Arsenal a plan B. If they sell him to Everton, there's another player Everton been like, fucking idiots. So I'd take Giroud at Liverpool, no doubt. Arsenal need to keep him, and he's just one of the many options they have going forward. They do just play this lovely tiki-taka football at times. Arsenal, I think, alongside Liverpool and Manchester City, Spurs on a day, they're probably the teams that you watch in the Premier League and think, oh man, this team's just beautiful to watch. I love watching this team. If you're a neutral, that is, I imagine they're the teams you want to watch. And it showed the weekend. Arsenal 4, Leicester 3 was a hell of a game, and it summed Arsenal up. The commentator said this at one point. I completely agree with him. He started the game well, then faded big time, middle of the game, did shit, then ended brilliantly. And it sort of encapsulated the modern Arsenal Premier League season. And therein lies the problem for Arsenal, just inconsistent. And that is why I've got them at 6th. I mean, they signed Sead Kolasinac as well as Lacazette. Lacazette, incidentally, very, very good signing. He will score goals, but Kolasinac, again, another good signing. Is he world class? Would he get into any of the teams of the sides above them? I mean, is he a left back? He'd probably get in Liverpool's team, to be fair, but No, I can't think of him getting in anyone else's team. 100% actually, he wouldn't get in anyone else above Arsenal's. Uh, first 11. The centre backs, Saka was very, very good in the FA Cup final actually, but then I think he went off injured in the Charity Shield. He's still not good enough, I don't think. Shelney's a great centre back, granted. I mean, he's very good, but he is getting on a bit now. He's like in his 30s. Rob Holding's still young, he's got a future, but still, put him up against Harry Kane, put him up against Lukaku, Morata, Lacazette, Firmino, Salah, Mane. What's going to happen? He's going to get dicked, quite simply. And for too long, it's been said this about Arsenal, and it stays true. For a good 7, 8, maybe even longer, maybe since Vieira's days, however many years that is, 13, they haven't had a bit of steel in the lineup in midfield. And therein lies the problem. Too many of these players like Ozil, who have said it's amazing going forward, but you tackle him, he looks back, and just stands there watching while the team goes forward. And it's like, get back, track back, you lazy cunt. I would be pissed off if I was an Arsenal fan with some of the defending they do. I mean, I say this, I'm a fucking Liverpool fan. I know exactly why. Because I'll tell you why, Liverpool and Arsenal are so similar right now. They're the two most similar teams in the Premier League. Because we're both the same. We're both great attacking going forward. Both weak as fucking back. The difference is for Arsenal this year, as much as I hate to say it, nothing on Arsenal fans, this from a Liverpool perspective, I think they will go further than us in Europe. Further than anyone in England and Europe, actually. Oh, obviously winning the Europa League, so as well as that, they do well in the cups, and they'll play a lot of games this year, and Sanchez may still go. Ozil looks like he's committing, but he may still go. Will Wenger sign anyone else? Probably not. You know what his record's like. He just doesn't sign for whatever reason. Will other teams in the top 6 sign? Probably. They probably will. So that is why Arsenal are 6th for me. And like I said, I think there'd only be a point or maybe even goal difference behind the 5th place team. And the 5th place team is Liverpool. So my team, I'm going to predict us just to narrowly miss out on Champions League. And it'll be a heartbreaker for us. And, one of the few times, where in recent years where I've predicted us to finish outside the top 4. Usually I'm quite optimistic with Liverpool. I look at this and I think, and this stays true, I think our first 11 can take on anyone, so long as, they don't defend well. As simple as that. Because to be fair, even if they defend well, our attack will still rip someone open. But my point is, I'll put it in a really bad way, roundabout way, but Liverpool often tend to go into games where they think, alright, we'll just outscore you. Our defence is wank. It's so bad. I think we've got players there who could do something with other players alongside them. Nathaniel Klein at right back, I think, is reasonably solid. I mean, he's not the greatest defender in the world. He's amazing going forward, but he's no Glenn Johnson. He can defend a bit, whilst he does still maintain Johnson's quality going forward. Andrew Robertson was signing a left back. Remains to be seen about him. I think he looked okay-ish in the games pre-season, the few minutes that he got. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really catch much of him at Hull last year. I didn't really watch Hull much last year until Marco Silva came in, and I caught the odd game, but I don't know, he didn't really stand out per se. But maybe that was just Hull. A lot of the time they were being attacked. So Robertson, we'll see what he's made of. In the meantime, we started Alberto Moreno at the weekend. And he looked good against Bayern Munich in pre-season, but did let a man go for one of Watford's goals, just gone. Defensively, is he good enough? No, you don't really ever feel comfortable with Moreno there. Going forward, is he good enough? Yes, he certainly is. I'll tell you this about Moreno. I said this to my boys and work. He's a winger, I think. I do not see him as a fullback at all. Going forward, he's so good that you think, what the fuck? Do a Bale, yeah, make him a winger. I mean, not saying he'd be as good as Gareth Bale going forward. you know, defensively, he's probably even weaker than, say even weaker, no offence to him, but he's weaker than Milner. Milner wasn't a left back. Milner can play a lot of roles. He's versatile. But last year we did get exposed a bit with Milner going backwards. However, even more when Moreno played, this game against Arsenal was just like, what the fuck, at the start of the season. And that game summed both teams up, the 4-3 at the start of last season. It's a different season, but it showed both teams' defensive frailties. It's no coincidence that both teams conceded 3 in the opening day of this season, which is why I predicted us to finish 5th and 6th. The big frustration for me with Liverpool is the window. Remove Salah from that. Like I said, Robertson's a bit of an unknown. He's one of the signings made. I'll also quickly mention Dominic Solanke. I think is a great signing. He looks like a huge prospect for the future. He looks like the next Daniel Sturridge guy. Just hopefully he stays clear of injuries, like Sturridge didn't over the years. But he looks a natural finisher, good in the air as well. Got a good football brain and great attitude, according to Jurgen. You're getting a feel of that from the presses. And for 3 mil off Chelsea, one of our closest rivals, that's a snip. Salah is one for the here and now. Going forward, excellent. He's got pace to burn. I think he'll do absolute bits this year. I think 35 mil already looks a bargain. In a few years' time, it'll look even more of a bargain with the mad prices that we go at net, if you think of some of the prices going now. And it complements Mane perfectly and our rapid counter-attacking style, which catches everyone out. Liverpool score. Did we score more than anyone else last year? I don't think we did. I think Tottenham scored more than us. It's probably close between us and Man City as well, but we are one of the best teams in the country to watch. In the world, no doubt, because we're so good going forward and so bad going back. But imagine what it's like for a fan, man. It gives me fucking... I'll have grey hair too, just watching Klopp's Liverpool, because I saw Carragher recently on the soccer Saturday analysis thing, and he made a point. I think the problem for Liverpool is that not just the lack of quality at centre back, it's the way we set up. We concede such soft goals, and it's the problem with Liverpool. You can see Liverpool go 2-0 up in a game, but you're never really comfortable because you're just one set piece away from the opposition getting back in it. And then our arses go. It happened the other day. I fucking knew Watford were going to score an equaliser. It's just the way it was. They were going forward last couple of minutes, just after we did. We did the bar as well at one point in the game. Moreno had a great effort saved by Aurelio Gomez, and we should have wrapped it up then. Then going forward, you just think, there's a goal coming here. Never ever do I watch Liverpool when we're up against the cosh and think we look comfortable defensively, because it just doesn't happen. I think Carragher's point was that we're set up wrong in set pieces. A lot of times we were just stood there like dicks doing zonal marking, just let someone come across, like we did against Watford. I forget who it was who come across, but he got a flick on, and Britos just fucking bundles it in. Hint of offside, but probably should have stuck. But anyway, I digress. It's not just a Watford game. This happens throughout the season, and that's what annoys me about Liverpool, is that we are crying out for a couple of good centre backs. And then once we got that, we've got the base for Jurgen to then go and sort us out properly defensively, coaching, because it sounds like I'm criticising Jurgen a bit here. I sort of am. It's just a bit of a surprise to me. It's something I've not done often. Don't get me wrong, I love the guy. I love him at Liverpool. I think keep him there for as long as possible, please. Just give him a fucking open-ended contract. He leaves when he wants, because he will make us a force, I think, given time. But I expect it to be this summer, and that's what's frustrating me the most. We didn't get Van Dijk. We made an absolute pig zero of that transfer. Apparently we met him in Blackpool and sent texts, and I don't know. I could go in for it, but I'm conscious of time, guys. I'm on an hour 20. I need to wrap this up soon. It's just turned into film line. So yeah, we have Van Dijk and Keita. The deals we just fucked up, and have we got them too? I seriously think we'd have had the best 11. Maybe not the best 11 in the league, but one of the best 11s in the league. I think only Spurs would have bettered that. It's something I'll mention the Spurs a bit later on. Because across the park then you've got solidity as a spine. Keita, Naby Keita, Trust me, he will be the best midfielder in the world. He'll be one of the best midfielders in the world, actually, I think, in a few years' time. I think he's definitely one of the maybe handful, I say few, I'd say a handful of midfielders right now you think, you look at in 5 years' time, think could be the best in the world. And he has defensive steel about him as an engine. He could have drove us forward so much and helped us. And, not just missing out on him. And it looks like we might get next summer, to be fair. There's a £48 million release clause. But apparently we offered big. We offered £66 million to Leipzig. But now they've kept saying no. They're dicks. And we go looking to get him next summer on that release clause. But I just know what it's like, Bayern Munich will probably fucking come in and steal him then, or he'll have a worldy season for Leipzig, who are a good side in the Champions League. He's on the highest level now to be broadcasted across Europe and the globe. And he'll have this great season and get snapped up by someone else. And what frustrates me is, and a lot of Liverpool fans have been defending FSG, saying, "Oh, why are you complaining?" Rumour is that they're putting £66 million in. Because a lot of fans like me have been complaining as well. We're sort of divided on FSG right now. They're putting the bid in. Leipzig did accept it. What's your plan? Other teams go in and just get the business done, man. And FSG have a history of this shit. So many times in the years. Back in the day, we tried to sign fucking Salah, and he fucks off to Chelsea or Spurs when he was supposed to be on the way to here. It happened with Willian as well. Back in the day, we had this absolute muppet called Ian Ayre who went over to Ukraine to sign Alan Teixeira of Shakhtar Donetsk, and ended up in a fucking brothel, I think, is the rumour I heard. So that's all he fucking bought over there. They could not sell a black cat to witch, these guys, man. And it just frustrates me that having finished fourth last year, the well to finish fourth, we just about scraped it. Granted, we didn't have Europe as well, which leads me to really be shit up a bit this year, because we've improved the squad a bit, but not a huge amount, which is 3 signings. And obviously Lucas Leiva's left as well. We have finished Champions League twice in the last 8 years, and this is what frustrates me most. Both these times happened under FSG, and we had the worst window possible after both occasions. The biggest window, the most important window. Last time we lost Suarez, and we replaced him with fucking Balotelli and Ricky Lambert, Markovic, and a load of other shit. I mean, the only good signing we made that year, to be fair, we got Lallana in, that's some other thing. He didn't really start playing well until Klopp come in, but he's one of our best players now. Great player. And I love the guy. But we've done the same again this year, guys. Because it looks like Felipe Coutinho is going to go. And this, I'm saving for this moment, but I made this prediction, like I said, on the Wednesday night. The next day, Coutinho put in a transfer request. I'd still gonna stick to my guns and say we'll finish above Arsenal, just about, even if Coutinho goes and we don't replace him. Just because Lallana can actually come in then, and we could still have a pretty solid front six. We'd have Hendo, either Gini or Emre Can, then Lallana, Salah, Firmino, Mane. But obviously Coutinho, if he goes, he's the best player at the club, no doubt about it. He's adored by the fans. It's just a bit of a shame that he did that the day before, and you can sort of see why he's done it. It's Barcelona at the end of the day, but to do it so late, I don't know if I can bring it in myself to hate on Phil and boo him and call him a twat and all this and that, because I cheered for him every week. I'm not that type of guy. Like over the years, Owen went and Torres went and this and that, and all these fans call them Judases and stuff. I don't want them to do well. I don't cheer them on as rival clubs, but I'm not going to call them twats because they gave good service to my club, and that's all I care about. And that's what Coutinho did. But certainly the timing was bad, and it hurt us big time. That he should have done it earlier. Obviously, you could say Neymar's just gone. Barca have come in and that, but 4 or 5 days ago, it looked like Barca were going to come in. There was no real indication. It just come out the blue. Coutinho saying he wants to fuck off. And yeah, my head says if he goes, Liverpool 6. Probably that I'd say as well at that point. Closer in points to Everton 7th than Arsenal 5th. But my heart, as a Liverpool fan, is just going to say we might just edge it. Just because we all played less games than Arsenal still. I'm remaining a bit optimistic, but not optimistic enough to get in the top 4. It's possible. But this way, I wouldn't be too surprised if Liverpool finish 6th, worse than my prediction. I wouldn't be too surprised if we finish 4th either. I don't think we'll get top 3, but 4th is maybe a possibility as well. And this is why, moving on finally to my 4th place team, and I'm conscious time again, guys. Sorry, I'll move on quick. It's Chelsea, so really quick about Chelsea. It's going to move on. I'm losing my voice, man. I'm trying to talk too quick. Chelsea were dog shit at the weekend. A lot of people saying Chelsea have bad window of it. I'd say this. I don't think the first team's got worse, really. A lot of people saying this. Morata, is he better than Costa? Probably not right now. In time, he probably will be. Bakayoko and Matic. I think they're about the same ability right now, but Bakayoko's younger. Matic, however, they sold to rivals Man United, which is ridiculous decision, I think. Look how well he played the other day. He won man the match. John Terry retired. He didn't play too much though. Rudiger's come in. They let Ake go though. Zuma go. So they've weakened the depth, and therein lies the problem for me. I mean, that first 11, like I said, I think it's still solid. Hazard's been linked away. I don't think he will. I don't know why. I've not considered this a viable thing all summer. I just don't think Conte's an idiot, really. You can't afford to let him go. And the teams he's been linked with, like Barcelona and Real Madrid, I just don't think he'll go. He wouldn't get in Real Madrid's team, for one, because Ronaldo's there. And Barca, they'd say it looked like they're going to get Coutinho or Dembele from Dortmund. So Chelsea's first 11 still pretty strong, but like Liverpool, they didn't have Europe last year, and that is a big factor as to why I think they won't get anywhere near the top 3. I say anywhere near, consider that like 7 or 8 points maybe shy of third place team. But that's quite a bit, to be honest, for the defending champions as well, and obviously they're going to be more points behind the league leaders and the champions, who I think at the end of the day will be. So yeah, the worry for Chelsea is that in recent years, when they have won the league, the motivation the next year has been questioned, and it just seems to follow the same pattern for Chelsea. Bam, manager comes in, does really, really well at the start, wins something big. Fine, you've hit the peak, you've hit the crown a moment there. Say not the peak, it doesn't have to be the peak, that's the weird thing. You've got your crown a moment, you've got success, you know the formula, you've got the team winning mentality, lovely stuff, get going. Then I don't know what it is. It might be egos in the dressing room, or egos in the boardroom, or egos in the manager's head, or Bromwich interfering. Who knows? But Chelsea, the following season, just tend to fall off the gas a bit. And I mean, you might be looking at saying, "Oh, that's happened one season for Mourinho. They finished 10th." Granted, that was just a dreadful season. They were probably going to fucking relegate if they did not sack Mourinho and brought us Hidden. But just in previous seasons as well, you know, there have been seasons in the past where Chelsea won the league and then finished something like third the next year or fourth, which doesn't sound really bad, but for me, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would consider that bad. I think Chelsea are one of the clubs that should expect to win the league. Rightly so, they spend a lot of money. Not as much as some teams this summer. Oh yeah, this summer. Not as much as some this summer, for sure. Thinking about it, Chelsea spent 30 on Rudiger, 60 on David Luiz, 40 on Bakayoko, and actually they have spent a bit. Ignore me. They've spent a fair bit, Chelsea. But I think over the last 6 or 7 seasons, other teams have spent more. So Chelsea did well to win it last year, but like I said, they benefit from lack of Europe, and I think Chelsea are the type of team, and Conte the type of manager, that will thrive in the Champions League. I think they'll do well. I think they'll get at least last 8. And it'll hurt them in the league further. I think they'll go out early in the cups, actually. They'll go for a bit of a surprise one there. The domestic cups, that is. But still struggle in the league to a degree that they'll finish closer to Liverpool and Arsenal in 4th than the top 3. So I'll summarise Chelsea really quickly there. Sorry guys, I'm conscious of time, so I had to do it quicker. I could have gone on, but I'll try and sum up the top three as quick as possible as well. But I keep saying the top three, I think will be steady clear. And yes, I think I'll go as far as saying they'll be close to each other, that there will be a title race between three of them, or as far as the penultimate weekend of the season, and for two of them, maybe the last weekend of the season. I think it'll be that close. And it's hard to split the teams. Who did I go for in third? Bear in mind this was made on Wednesday, 2 days before the season started. I went with Manchester United. So Man United spent more than anyone else in the last 7 seasons, I think. I saw a stat the other day, and it's one of the two. The only other one who's close to them is City, and I think Chelsea were third, PSG fourth, something like that. You know, it harms the Premier League a bit, but every team spends, I suppose. But I say it harms the Premier League in terms of this season, because I think you looked at last season at one point, you had second to sixth was about 5 points separated, and this is like February, March. It won't be like that this year. The top three will stand alone, and Man United will be firmly part of it. I do think they will just tail off just at the end. I expect them to do well in all three competitions. Again, maybe the last 8 Champions League, perhaps. I think that's about their level right now. Probably go for at least one of the cups. I'm not sure they will win anything this year, actually, United. I'm going to say I don't think they'll win domestic cups. I think they'll probably get to a final, semi-final, something like that. But overall, they'll probably win more games than they did last year, relative to the percentage of games they played. Played a lot of games last year. They're obviously hoping to do so again this year. And they just look different this year, man. They do. I'll say this. I'm not just saying this because I'm a Liverpool fan. I think Man United were horrific to watch last year. They were so bad. They were anti-football. They were negative. They were dull. They were boring. They popped the bus. Everything wrong with football last year was Man United's performances. On the flip side, I'm going to say quickly before United fans hate, they were the best team to watch and the best performance of the first round of fixtures this game gone, which is amazing to do that in the summer. It shows the difference. So, I mean, it worked for United last year to a degree, doing this. I think they played more games than anyone else in England by about 10, it must have been, because all the others got knocked out of Europe really early. United were the last one standing from about the last 8 onwards, I think. After Manchester City, was that 16 maybe? Man City got fucked out by Monaco. So credit to them actually for finishing. Not saying finishing 6th. That's no credit. No Man United fan ever wants to see that, of course. I'd hate that if I was a Liverpool fan. And United will have expectations based on last summer's spend that they had, and it didn't really work out for them in the league, but they were hindered by other competitions and the style of play. I think it's always the case with Mourinho. He comes in, he does this every club. First season, he still gets to grips with the club. He puts his stamp on the squad a bit and gets them playing how he wants to a degree. Roots out the shit, works out where to improve them, and makes 1 or 2 adjustments. Does okay, but not spectacular. And in the end, actually, it has got to be said, despite what I think, I don't fully think they deserved the rewards they did get last season, to be honest, based on the performances. No offence to United, but it's just the way it is. Because you look at the rewards they had, and it was great. They had a better season than anyone in England except Chelsea, in my opinion. I still think Chelsea's Premier League title and FA Cup runner-up, I suppose, and anything to shout about, but still impressive going with the league. I still think that trumps United's 2 trophies, the League Cup and the Europa League. But as well as the League Cup and Europa League, United got Champions League, which resulted in winning Europa League against Ajax, of course. Granted, they had easy opposition in the Europa League, it's worth note. Helped them out, but it was so important because it helped United attract these players with the Champions League. I mean, to be fair, United is so big a club, but it still probably could have done it. It showed last year. They signed Zlatan when they went in Champions League. But with the added, excuse me, just got a text. With the added, bonus of Champions League, they can get these players in and really sell them and motivate them to push on and think, right, Mourinho for sure would have thought this. Last season was a fucking grind. It could have gone horrifically. If we'd have lost that Europa League final, what have we got? League Cup in 6th place. Fuck that. That's a terrible season, Man United, despite winning a trophy. They settle for Champions League every year, of course. But they settle for a title challenge every year. Club of their stature. However, you will see that win against Ajax, which was so big, as a springboard to this season. First season, like I said, at every club he does what I said. Second season tends to be the big success story. He almost always wins the league the second season. In fact, I think he has always won the league the second season. A couple of clubs he's won it first, granted. Maybe Internazionale, certainly at Chelsea he did. I think at Porto he may have. Second season is generally the one who was the best in there. And usually about the third season he's fucked off. He's gone. He never lasts more than 3 seasons. I wouldn't be that surprised though if he does stay, for quite a long time. Maybe it's a dynasty that will appeal to him. So I think United for sure, along with Liverpool, are probably the only 2 clubs in the country who can claim to be the biggest in the country. They're the only 2 clubs to ever dominate post-war English football for 2 decades. We had the 70s and 80s, they had the 90s and 2000s. We had 4 European Cups in the space of 7 years. They had the treble. They have more FA Cups, you know what I mean? We have more League Cups though. It's shit like that. Both clubs are massive. And with Chelsea, with all due respect to Chelsea, it's, I think, still in Mourinho's mind, it will be his homeland. He will always have great affection for Chelsea. It's his club. He said that when he came to it. He's the happy one when he came back. But Man United are a different entity to Chelsea. They're a bigger club. And if you get them going as a global force again and a brand, they're difficult to stop. We saw it under Fergie. They earn the most money, they're worth the most money in the world, Man United. So they can't spend all this shit. The kit deal's massive. And he does pretty much have unlimited funds there, like I said, and a huge fan base and stadium behind him. With his style of football, what Mourinho does from the ground up is makes teams hard to beat. Then sorts out the attack. And the attack last year was too blunted. Touched on briefly earlier what could be a problem for Everton with Rooney. Last year you had Pogba come in. CM, he started the games, but he just strayed to Cam, which he wanted to do, which he did for Juventus to great effect. But then Rooney starting in Cam was there, and Zlatan would drop deep, because he liked to drop deep to get the ball. So often you could throw like a top ball, top ball is big. You throw a fucking coat over the 3 of them on the pitch. And it just got too cramped. And Martial and Lingard and Mkhitaryan and Mata, whoever the fuck, Rashford, whoever the hell they had on the wings, were just sort of left there, 30 metres away from the nearest United player. Like, what the fuck? You've just lost the ball. Or you've won it and you're getting each other's way. Beat us. We need help. We need to hold it up and have someone in the middle, and you 3 are just fucking chilling over there. It just never really worked out last year. Zlatan still scored loads, but that's just Zlatan. He's quality player. He could score shit load of goals and fucking try and meet his team. If you even put them in the Premier League. This year they're a different beast. Lukaku signing this year was quality. I think I don't know if I've mentioned this. I don't really understand the criticism of Lukaku sometimes. Granted, his first touch isn't always the best. Sometimes his decision making is a bit like me as well, but he's strong, he's quick, he knows how to finish. Very composed in front of goal. Actually, he's got a bit of shot on him. He's young, he's 24 or 5, I think. He's still got like a decade left in him. He's a bit like Drogba type of player. So that type of player thrives in the Premier League. Where he can bully people in the air and on the ground. So many times last year I saw for Everton, they highlight this analysis as well, actually, on Match of the Day, etc. He'd make runs, he'd point, you'd see him, holding the line, and the defence is quite high, and he's pointing where he wants it to go. And Barkley or fucking Gay or Schneidlin or Morales or whoever it was would hold on to it just a second too long, or play the ball just a bit, too early, alternatively, and stuff like that. And you could see him getting frustrated, thinking, fuck, just play it in. But he's got the players to do that now. With respect to them Everton players, he's got better players behind him. He's got Pogba. He's got fucking Herrera can pick a pass, to be fair. Matic can pick a pass, clearly, and just some of the others, the link-up play with Rashford the other day was so promising. If you're a United fan, they look good in short, man. I will have to move on because I said I'm rabbiting on a bit, but I think United will still fall just short, because I do still think, whilst it did look good against West Ham, it is still one game. And granted, of course, I made this prediction before the list anyway. I didn't actually expect them to gel so well as this West Ham game straight away. But what will United do against the big boys? That's what I'm thinking then and now. Away from home last year, they were so fucking negative. It was embarrassing. They came to Anfield, they came to the Etihad, they went to White Hart Lane, and they did nothing. They just sat there and were happy for a point. He did, it's a cliche with Jose, but he did essentially park the bus in all of them games. And it's there for teams to go and break them down, but you're never going to win league titles with that attitude. We settle for 3 points out of 9 at them grounds. Yeah, that's just them grounds. I can't even remember some of the other games. I think Arsenal might beat them down the gaff, maybe. Something like that as well. Yeah, this year will be different. I think Mourinho will go out every game set to win. And maybe the fact that he goes out for it a bit more may count against United. They may get caught a bit more on the, at the back and stuff like that. But I think the reason I'm putting them in third and not first for me is just that the more and more time passes, particularly Bruno going as well, the more players you have in that United squad who haven't tasted Premier League success, and quite a lot of them haven't even tasted a title challenge. Well, they might have at other clubs, but not at Man United. So, still getting it together, I think. Still a work in progress, but certainly United now are definitely back in the title mix. I just think it's a touch too soon for them. Excuse me. So, just have a quick drink, guys. I'm parched. My voice is cracking up big time. I'm on to my top 2 though, so I'll be quick and I'll talk about them both together now, these 2. And of course, you know which 2 are left. So, without further ado, guys, in at number 2, I decided to go with last season's runner-up, Tottenham Hotspur. So, again, I'm going to pick Spurs to just miss out, which means Manchester City are my pick to win the league. City, very, very good transfer business this window. That is the difference, quite simply, between them 2. I think Tottenham have the best first 11 in the league. I thought that last year, I thought that the year before. I still think it holds true. I mean, you may be thinking, yeah, they haven't won it, but I think their problem is depth. Say Harry Kane gets injured, say Eriksen and Ali get injured, Alderweireld gets injured, what do? You look at Spurs bench sometimes and, well, it's not bad, it's not particularly great. I actually think it's probably the weakest bench going into the season of the top 6, except Liverpool and to be fair, maybe Chelsea and Arsenal. Actually, that's probably a wrong thing to say, but put it this way: United and City have more quality in depth. The good thing for Spurs is that them players don't tend to miss out too much. They haven't been injured that often. Occasionally they get games missing for various reasons. Dele Alli every now and again will get himself sent off or something. Or, don't know, they might have Kane with a strain for a couple of games, misses out or something like that. The fact is, particularly the managers doing that this season, Spurs need to do better in Europe this year. They've been so poor, actually, in recent years, I think, in Europe. Really haven't done themselves justice. Like I said, I love watching Spurs play, actually. I think that's the realistic teams to win the league. Obviously, I want Spurs to win it, because I don't want City or United to win it. Not just because the man clubs, the local rivals to me. Because sorry, I had to digress, just to plug my laptop in and what's going on. But yeah, Tottenham go about things the right way. They haven't spent anything this window, and I admire that in a way, because they're trusting in what they've got. And even over the years, they haven't spent a lot. Of the net spend of all the teams in probably even the top half of the table that I predicted here today, except for Southampton, actually. The top 9 then, whatever. Spurs probably have the lowest net spend. In fact, they probably even turned a profit. Would not surprise me if that is true. They take these players and they make them great, and they sell them for a lot, like they did with Bale, like they did with Modric, like they did with Kyle Walker, to Manchester City. And they always seem to have someone who slots into the gap. You know what I mean? They had fucking. I mean, he's not a winger, but say Eriksen took a bit of the mantle of Bale. Son is obviously no Bale, but he's very, very good player as well. Trippier will come in for Walker. Trippier, in fact, was starting over Walker towards the end of last season. He's a very, very good player himself. Forget the other one I said. Modric went out to go Wanyama in, then Dembele immediately actually, but Wanyama a few years back. And Eric Dyer they have as well. The first 11 is the best. I think it's as simple as that. But City's depth is so strong that while I think they will both go similar in Europe, I think they'll both get possibly last 8. I mean, I've said this for quite a few Premier League teams now, actually. Obviously, it's not going to be the case of all of them, so some will let me down. I think at least 2 or 3 will get top 8. And Spurs could be one of them. Who will benefit more from that? It's Man City. Their bench is insane. Man City's bench is the best in the league. It's close with United, very close I think, but I think it is the best. You look at the other day, man, they had Sane and Sterling on there, they had Otamendi and Gala, I think. They had Bravo, granted he was a bit shit last year, but still pretty capable keeper on his day, if he comes good. The only issue, I suppose, is foot going up front. They let Iheanacho go. They've only really got Aguero and Jesus. But you can play just one of them if you like, and you can sort of change shape and adjust, because they have so many great midfielders right now that, Torre, fucking Silva, De Bruyne, Fernando. One of them might have been sold this summer actually, but you know what I mean. They have a lot of quality in there. The main reason I predicted to finish first, because aside from 2 signings, I would have gone with Tottenham first a couple of weeks ago. I suppose you could say 3 signings. This guy's unknown, but they signed Edison, a new keeper, world record fee for a keeper actually, I think. And the biggest in the window, well obviously, but Pickford obviously came in. Is he better than Pickford? Who knows? They took a bit of a risk on this guy. He was a Benfica keeper. Like I said, we'll see what he's about. But they had to replace Bravo, man. He was so fucking bad. They brought Walker in from Tottenham. Kyle Walker's decent. I don't think he's actually that great. He definitely is an improvement on what they had. An aging Zabaleta, who's gone to West Ham. Should have mentioned him for West Ham signings incidentally, but yeah, too late now. The big one for me was Mendy at left back. I think he's much better than Walker. I think Walker is good to improve him, like I said, but I think Benjamin Mendy could be one of the best left backs in the world one day. I still think that would be David Alaba until the day he retires, but Mendy's not far behind, man. Looking at him in a couple of years' time, perhaps. As well as that, they have a fit Vincent Kompany. Can he stay fit? Who knows? He barely ever finishes the season. But I always said when Kompany was fit, he's the best centre back in the league. I maybe took that back a bit last couple of seasons just because he'd come in for maybe 5-6 games and just start finding his feet in a bit of rhythm. Then start looking like the best centre back in the league again, then get injured. So one step forward, two back. But yeah, if you can keep him fit for a good run, he's got the know-how. Has he got the legs anymore? I don't know. I've not seen enough of him recent years. He's in his 30s now, I think. But he reads the game well enough that it doesn't even matter half the time anyway. Put alongside him, Johnny Stones. And he's constantly learning. You know, I actually think Stones is one of the most overrated players in the world, actually, just because the way some people do talk about him. I know people have been like, oh, John Stones, like fucking one of the best centre backs in the world one day. He could be like Beckenbauer where he plays out from the back and that. He's not going to be like Beckenbauer. Wind your neck in, boys. Once Beckenbauer won the World Cup as player and manager, fucking John Stones, don't put pressure on him. They wonder why these English players don't do well. But alongside Vinny Kompany, he's got a mentor there, and for sure, John Stones is getting better, slowly but surely. Is he good enough to be in a Champions League? You know, last 8, last 4, last 2, best 11? Probably not. Is he good enough to be in a Premier League winners 11? I'd say still possibly not. But is he, you know, is he potentially going to be that good? I do definitely agree with that. And I think this could be the year he comes good. Because now he's got better defenders alongside him, he will maybe be given a bit more protection and more room to learn off Vinny Kompany, basically. Because at times last year it was a bit ugly, he got exposed, particularly, you know, the game against Everton, come on, as an example. And that was City's weakness for a long time, defence. They just don't defend anywhere near as well as Spurs. Spurs are great defence, by the way. We conceded the least in each of the last 2 seasons in Premier League, I think. The problem with Tottenham is that every now and again they do just drop points to these stupid teams. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They'll go into like a lead of 1-2-0 or something, then you think, oh, they could get pegged back here. Whereas sometimes if City go 1-0 or 2-0 up, they'll go on and win 3 or 4. City don't tend to do quite as well against the big teams as Tottenham have done in recent years. But there again, Spurs, when it chips down the last few years, have choked away. And City know how to get this done, winning the Premier League. Quite a few of their squad still does know how to do it. Unlike, say, like Chelsea, Man United, but probably all the same amount. But you know what I mean. City have done it more recently, for sure. And I think they're all just about edgy this time. So that's it, basically, guys. I'll do other video where I talk through other things. One last thing I will say actually is just a very quick other prediction on the Premier League before I do sign up. I think Golden Boot will go. It's a grimly predictable one again, but I'm going to say Harry Kane, just about ahead of Lukaku once again. But I think both will score at least 25 again. Player of the season. If City win the league, it tends to go to a player of that club. So, I'm going to go for bold one. In fact, no, it doesn't have to go to a player of that. Fuck it. I'm just going to say player of the season, Dele Alli. We won't quite get them over the line, but my boy Dele, who's a Liverpool fan, come to Liverpool, Dele, forget rid of Coutinho. But no, for now he's at Spurs, unfortunately for us, and I think he'll have that too.